Hello everyone, welcome back to the series on programming robot mechanics. In this video, we are going to implement the joint space planning inside our robot class. Earlier, we have been implementing the different ways of planning trajectories, the linear trajectory, quintic, cubic, and splines as well. These were coded separately. We required them to be coded separately. Now we are going to implement these inside our robot class. So the trajectory planning can work for individual robots that a user creates. Right. So this is all in all a culmination of all the videos that we have been doing previously. And finally, we are going to use all the concepts that we coded earlier. So let's get to this. Okay. So the first thing that we need to do is import the different trajectory planning algorithms that we're going to use. For that, we are going to import the first one is the cubic trajectory planning, and then we have the linear trajectory planning. Then we're going to pull the cubic spline trajectory and the linear spline trajectory. So these are the four main trajectory planning that we're going to use. We are not going to use quintic trajectory as of now, but these are the four that we're going to use. Now, why these four? Cubic trajectory planning, we are going to use this if the user passes 2 points, like the initial point and the final point. But if the user also passes more than 2 points, like the via points and as such, we are then going to make use of cubic spline interpolation. All right, so we have imported these modules. Now let's get to writing the function for this. So we're going to write the function over here before get configuration. And we're going to name it joint space trajectory. Now as input, the first input is going to be positions. The second input is going to be time segments. This time segments will only be used when the user opts to use the linear trajectory. Otherwise, if the user opts to use cubic trajectory, then time segments will not be used. This variable will not be used. And then we can specify the interpolation that the user wants. The default implement interpolation is going to be cubic, but the user can specify it to be linear as well. All right, as time goes by, if this project develops, when this project develops, we are going to have more than this cubic and linear interpolation for sure. In that case, this function would need to be modified as well to take care of this time segments. When we introduce new interpolations, new kind of parameters will evolve over time. Then we need a more general method in order to deal with the different interpolation types. Currently, there are only 2 types. Therefore, we can work with the time segments variable. But when the usage increases or the number of interpolations increase, we need to fix a general kind of structure for this. But right now, we are okay with this. Okay, so now let's add some documentation. Okay, so here we have it. Now, in this joint space trajectory, the user is going to pass in the positions. Now, the size of these positions can either be n cross 3 or n cross 6. The 3 represents the XYZ and 6 represents the XYZ along with roll pitch yaw. So those are the 2 that we require. Moreover, since joint space trajectory is more of a user function than a developer function, we are going to need assertions over here. So let's add them as well. So the first assertion is going to be, we're going to assert if the positions.shape 0. Now the positions.shape has 2 components, a 0th component and the first component. Now the size that we are requiring is n cross 3, and we require that the n size is greater than 1. Only 1 point can be planned. So we require at least 2 points for the planning to make sense. And the second assertion that we're going to make is that the shape should either be equal to 3 or equal to 6 as we have defined. And we can have an assertion error in case this is not accepted. All right, one more assertion that we require over here is for the interpolation. If the user by mistake enters some other keyword other than cubic or linear, then we should also return an error. So let's do that. And we have interpolation in. So it's not, if it's neither one of these, then we are going to raise an error. All right, now the first step, the overall procedure of this whole function is going to be something like, we are going to take these positions and convert these to joint values. Then we are going to have an if else kind of statements where we are going to select based on the interpolation and the size of the positions array, whether we are going to use the spline, the linear spline, the linear trajectory, cubic spline, or cubic trajectory. So once we have decoded all those things using if else, then we're going to calculate the position, acceleration, and velocity, and then we are simply going to return this. So this is going to be the overall flow of this function. Right. So the first step that we need to have is convert the joint values. So let's add a comment related to that as well. Now we are going to make use of the functions that we have developed previously to convert the position to joint values. So first of all, we're going to initialize a joint value zeros array. Now the size of this is going to be positions.shape0, and let's just code and then I'll explain what this means. Okay, so this joint array is going to be a shape similar to what we have described in these functions. Q underscore over here in the trajectories, we have already described the input should be of the size n cross degree of freedom. N is the number of points and degree of freedom is the degree of freedom of the robot. We need to have a similar kind of shape when we are going to input this. So that's why we're going to define a Q underscore NP0's matrix that is of the shape n, the number of points, and the degree of freedom of the robot. All right, now the functions that we have already made for the robot, the forward kinematics function, we are going to use that. We're going to make use of that. But the one simple thing that we need to see is that the functions that we have defined before, they work only for a single position and a single orientation. They do not work as such for multiple points that are passed together. We should have implemented that, but since this is our first iteration of the software that we're working on, we are simply going to have a for loop over here that's going to keep iteratingly convert all the position to joint values. So let's do that for I in range. So we're going to loop over the number of points, all the points, and convert their joint values. Right. This is how we are doing it. We are given the position in space, the XYZ, or we could also have been given the RPY. We are using the inverse kinematics function to convert that back to joint values. So, right. Now, the next step is to add if-else statements, or we can simply say we need to calculate the trajectory from now on. So let's add those first. So these are all the if-else branches that we're going to have. This over here as well. So there are going to be 4 cases all in all, as we discussed. One thing important that we need to notice over here is that this is a very, I would say, a very narrow kind of approach towards this. As the code develops, as we have more interpolation methods, we will need to work on a more general method of calling these. Simply increasing the if-else statements would not be kind of acceptable, because this would make the code more jumbled up and all. So that's something that we need to consider in the future when we are going to be developing more on this project. All right, now we have the 4 cases, and let's add let's input all the variables and get the output. Then we are going to return the position, acceleration, and velocity. So let's do that. Okay, so this is the overall structure. The We are for all these trajectory planning, we are assuming that the initial and final velocities are going to be zero. That's why we have passed the zero array over here. Rest of all the algorithms already generalize the case that we are passing in the zero velocities. One thing more that we need to take care of is adding a time assertion for this linear time segments as well. So let's do that. I think we can add it over here. Now the size of this is going to be number of points minus 1. That should be how it is. Yeah, we can do it something like this. So it should be something like this. And let's assert here. Okay, so here we have this. All right, now we would be able to generate a trajectory, but that would be all mathematical and variable values as such. Now, in order to introduce some more visual representation of all this, we are going to add a new function to our robot class. We are going to add that towards the end, and that we should be naming as plot trajectory, because this is going to be a function that plots a trajectory for a given robot. Right. Now this would require the points that we had developed, self, q. Now let's add some documentation over here. Okay, now this function takes as the input the variable q, which is the list of the joint values, the q that we were returning above in the trajectory part. Now, why it only takes q and not the velocity and acceleration? This is going to be covered in the later part of the videos. In order for the robot to actually move, we need to implement a controller of some kind that is going to follow the trajectory that we have given to it. Right now, we are only assuming that the robot has somehow been able to be, is able to come at the point that we have commanded it to. Right. Now, for the robot to actually come at the position that we command it, we actually need a controller of some kind, which we have not yet implemented, but it is somewhat a plan to implement it in the later videos. Right now, we're just assuming the robot has somehow reached the location that we provided it, and we are plotting that final thing that it is over there. Okay, so now in order for this plot trajectory to work, we need one more new visualize function, right, in the visualize classes. So, right, let's do that. So we are going to define a new function called plot points. And this is going to take in the transformations again. Right, let's add some documentation for this. Now, what we are doing with this visualize function is we are going to plot the points that the final end effector is currently on. Like for instance, if we have a 3 degree of freedom robot, wherever the end effector is pointing, the position of the end effector, we are just simply going to plot all those points and see what the final trajectory is looking like for the end effector only. Right. For that, we are again going to need a 3D graph and scatter points. Like we're going to plot a point in a 3D graph. So that's the overall picture, how it's going to work. All right. For that, we're first going to initialize this figure and make it 3D. Right. So this is done now. Now we need to have X, Y, Z points. And then we're going to loop over all the transformations one by one and append XYZ to the respective lists. Now, this is very similar to what we have done previously. We are using the homogeneous transformation matrix, and in the homogeneous transformation matrix, the XYZ are located in the last column and the first, second, and third rows. So we are selecting those and appending those points to our XYZ lists. Then we are going to call the scatter 3D function and pass in the XYZ that we have. And we're simply going to then call the plt.show. Now, this is the backend function that we have developed. Now we need to add something in this plot trajectory function that we have defined for the robot. So the list of joint values that we are going to add is going to be of the shape of degree of freedom cross n, as we can see over here that we added. The degree of freedom cross m is returned from all these trajectory planning algorithms that we wrote before. So that's why we're going to have similar structure, degree of freedom cross n. So the first thing that we're going to do is assert the shape that we have for Q. Okay, now we are going to define a transformations list and we are going to append all the transformations to it using the forward kinematics function. So let's do that. Okay, so this is the final thing that we have. We are looping over the second second index shape of the Q, and then we are calculating the forward kinematics for all the Q of all the degree of freedoms. Right. Yes, we are taking the joint values at each point that we had just found out using the trajectory planning, and we are passing it to the forward kinematics function. Then the forward kinematics is calculating the final end effector position homogeneous matrix. We are appending that to the transformations list that we have, and then we are going to call the plot points function. Now, this is not currently imported, so let's go above and import this. In Visualize, we can import plot points. Right. Now, what's left is to test and see how this works. So in this, we have already defined a robot, the Puma robot, the 6 degree of freedom robot. Using this, we are going to visualize what the different trajectories look like. Now we are going to test it on the main.py file. How we're going to do it is, first of all, we're going to get some configuration from the robot using the .cut configuration. Now we need 6 joint values, which are over here. And we're going to create a series of 0.1, 0.2 till 0.5, I think, 5 position parameters. So let's do that first. Okay, now we have these position parameters. Now let's compute the transformation matrices of these joint values. Okay, now these are computed. Now we are going to sub-sample them. The position, we're going to get the position subarray out of these 5. So we have this now. Now, in order to compare the plot that we have, let's print these values as well. Right, now these are printed. Now we can get to the joint space planning. Right. First of all, we will create a positions array, which is composed of all these values. Right, and then we are going to do some joint space trajectory. I'm going to pass in the positions. These are passed in. Now we can finally plot the trajectories that we have. Single trajectory. Okay. Okay, so now we run this main.py file. Okay, so as we can see, okay. Now we have a value of minus 0.2 for the z, but okay, something doesn't seem right for this because minus 0.2 is actually going to minus 0.194. Even if the error was to be allowed, we would have allowed an error of minus 0.199 at most. So something does feel off. And one thing that we can notice over here is that the Newton method for all the cases is converging in just one iteration. So there seems to be some problem with the Newton method vector that we have just developed. So let's see if we can find any error. Okay, so in this optimizers file, we can see that the np.all seems a bit off because it is terminating the iterations in just one step. So instead of .all, now the problem is over here. np.all evaluates the things that something like it tests whether all the array elements along a given axis evaluate to true. So some values towards the end of the, let's just print the value and see what is going wrong over here. If we just print the values, then we can see the final array points are equal to 0. Now these are actually going to evaluate to true in our case because these values are, these values are going to evaluate to false. For this case, for the pref value minus value greater than epsilon, these values, because of these 0 values, our complete loop is going to halt right over there because the np.all will see a single false and it will evaluate the complete vector as false, therefore terminating the expression. However, what we needed here was np.any. That would make the while loop go without termination. Now this any checks whether if there are any true values or not. If there are any true values, then it will keep on going the loop. If there exists even a single false value, then the loop will halt. And even a single true value, right? If it will keep on evaluating till all the values that are present in the array are false. And that is what we require for the optimization to complete. Otherwise, the optimization will be done for some partial vector and not some vectors like these. Now, this is quite intriguing that we were not able to catch this error in the unit tests as such. So yeah, it's just a learning that we need to keep our unit tests updating like this. Okay, since we have identified the error and I think possibly resolved it as well, now let's run the loop that we have. Okay, let's now run the complete again. Now we can see the iterations have increased 5, 5, 6. And we can see over here, it now looks really good. Like the minus 0.2 is actually traced very well, minus 0.2. And the 0.22 till 0.27 is also traced very well. And we can see the X is also traced pretty good, like 0.17 till 0.08, right? It's looking pretty good now. Okay, one thing that we need to do, since we have pointed out a new error and we changed some files over here, let's go to tests and run the unit tests again. This will ensure that all the things are working fine. Yes, all the things are still working fine. So this is, in one way, we have seen that our unit tests are a little off. They do not check all the values. This is because the unit tests were made for all the values that in which there were all the values needed to be optimized. But in our case, for our robot, there are some values of the joint that do not require optimization and the loop still wants to run some more iterations over it. That's why we required np.any over here. So this is a mistake that we fixed over here, and this is pretty good since we are developing the library. This is a normal procedure of developing any software. We need to keep on testing and keep on iterating over our software to compile and fix all the errors that we have. So yeah. All right, so this was a pretty good learning video as such. So, right, in the next video, I don't know if we are going to be testing the trajectories unit testing. Since the trajectories are more of a visual component, it is quite difficult to execute any unit tests on them as such. So let's see what we get in the next video. Like there are some couple of things that we can go, either we can continue with the trajectory planning as such, or we can introduce some new concept like controllers or anything, but let's see what we get in the next video. See you in the next video then. Bye.